Hi guys, I'm Mariam Musa and welcome to my brand new show, Grounded. We done a call out because I wanted to hear some extraordinary stories from ordinary people. The show where we get deep with real people and even realer conversations. In a chaotic world, we want to cut through the noise and get grounded. Male depression has been a taboo conversation for many of years. Omar's story is a journey of healing and bravery that I know will inspire a lot of you. Okay, firstly, Omar, thank you so much for coming on. It means the world because I'm so excited for us to listen to your story.
Cool.
One thing that I think really resonated to me was the topic of depression, and that's something you highlighted when you wrote into us. Mm-hmm. And before I even get straight into it, I think it would be good to tell our audience a bit about you, how, because I knew you from Backchat, so maybe we can say a
bit about that. So obviously Omar, I was on the second to the very last season of Backchat. That's kind of what catapulted me into spotlight, public eye kind of thing.
Yeah.
Originally, I hadn't watched the show as much. I watched bits of it, and on my own socials, I used to talk a lot about mental health and about how guys should just open your mouth and speak, innit? Mm-hmm. And then one of my friends saw that and was like, "Oh, you should go ahead and put yourself forward for it." So I was like, "All right, cool," and done the auditions. And I think Andy liked what he saw.
Okay.
So as they say, one thing led to another, and then I think that was one thing. And then obviously a lot of people thought I was from the Caribbean until they heard me speak my language, and they're like, "Oh, actually, he's African."
Yeah, because I would have assumed you were from the Caribbean. You give me
a lot of people did at the time, but
Yeah.
I'm actually Arab African. So
Oh, wow.
My mum is fully Ghanaian.
Okay.
My dad's mum is Ghanaian Nigerian, and his father is Lebanese Syrian.
So you got a nice little mix.
So that's what that was about. But again, I got on the show, spread my message and whatever, got to meet new people, interact with a whole new audience and stuff, and essentially just keep doing that, just keep spreading my message.
How was the beginning of your relationship with your stepdad? Really?
I think, and it bonds me now because it's I've dated women with kids, innit?
Yeah.
I'm not playing with you just to get pom-pom. Do you get it?
Yeah.
That's long, bro. Yeah. Go do whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not me. I love kids. Do you get it? I'm proper what we doing? What we doing? We doing boy stuff, or what am I getting my hair and nails done? What we say.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I don't have an issue with it. But I never went into those relationships as I'm stepdaddy. You know what I mean? I just went in there as you two are an item. You come as one.
Yeah.
I can't be with one without the other. Yeah. So here I am. But with my stepdad, I didn't feel like that. It felt in the beginning, it's like you entertained, man. Do you know what I mean? You saw, man, oh, we saying you good, whatever.
And then try and build an actual relationship.
Yeah, when you actually sealed the deal. But I think the only time this man gave me a hug was on the wedding day.
Oh, wow.
But then when you think about your family dynamic and was I ever a part of this family? But when you're on a high table because you're somebody. Do you get it? So when I'm on a high table and someone's asking, who are you to the bride and groom? That's nuts. Mm-hmm. That's my mum. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel there was any connection there. So obviously that all happened. And by the time we all moved in to, we used to live in Enfield. I don't know if they still live there. But we used to live there and I'd wake up, morning dad. Evening dad. Okay. Dad, you want this? But if there was anything that was a problem for that man, you could actually form sentences. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You could actually say stuff.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you ain't really trying to chat to man.
Yeah.
So, we're both Liverpool fans. That's probably the only thing we had in common.
We spoke about your stepdad, but we haven't actually spoken about your biological dad.
Pops.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a bit about that? Because that'd be nice to hear your relationship. And
I don't know, I feel a bit emotional about it now. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, I love my dad. I don't know what I'd say it like that, but...
I think a lot of people need to hear men say more of that, you love your dad.
I love my dad, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I thought I'm gonna cry now. So what were the ages where, from what you remember, your dad was involved in?
I was mad young. And then I think I went, because I was in between London and Ghana quite a lot. Okay. Because of my mum and my dad, and they were never married. I think they dated, had me, and then I don't know, shit went left, I'm guessing. Yeah. But I ended up staying with my dad until 6.
Okay. What was the memories with him then?
Yo.
Good.
Yeah, my dad's a madman. Yeah. So Yeah, like my whole childhood with my dad is just guns and motorbikes.
Wildlife.
Guns and motorbikes. That's my dad. Like we had a shotgun, and we had a 9mm, and we had an axe,
Oh my God.
and we had like a Rambo knife. Oh, it was lit. And we had 3 bikes. We had Suzuki's, Hondas. I think we had a BMW one. But they were all like, not like dirt bikes, they were like super bikes.
Okay.
Big boy bikes.
Trying to imagine that as because it's so away from
no, it's
mine.
that, like, you know, like, I don't know if you ever watched like MotoGP, like the motorcycle, the championship, like them big things.
Okay.
Them man, or like, if you watch any action film and like on like samurais are coming out of it, it's them bikes.
Okay, so your dad was, you guys had like a very father and son kind of
like my dad
boisterous relationship. Okay.
He didn't hide nothing. Dad was like, yo, we're going shooting.
Okay.
Say less. Go to the back garden and just let off rounds. Just let it off rounds. Or all live ammunition. Like, I don't know who this guy was trying to kill, but I only found out like later on that like he was in the army. Like Rawlins was the president of Ghana at the time because he'd done a coup d'etat and took over the country via military. My dad was involved in that. Didn't know that. So obviously at the time, a lot of it was like, because we're in Ghana. We live in a place called American House. The area is called American House.
So were you born in Ghana?
Born here.
You were born in here, but
kept going back and forth.
Okay.
So at the time, it was like dirt roads. Obviously, people were building houses, but it was dirt roads. There wasn't anything there like that. So you got animals, snakes, whatever. I'm like this, 4, 5-year-old kid. Like my dad's everything. You know what I mean? And the guy has guns. Like I'm safe. Okay, like real safe.
Real bad man.
Real bad man. Like this isn't a machete and a cutlass. No, this is a shotty.
Serious things.
Like,
Interesting.
It was amazing. So like, my whole thing was just that, and like he used to like cut up snakes and like hang the skin and make shit out of it.
Very hardcore.
And like he's super IT guy, so we used to like bust down computers and put them back up, and then the bikes were his thing. And like, I remember there was one time he was asleep, and some guys came and stole our bikes.
No way.
And I remember waking him up. I was like, Dad, like they're stealing our bikes, and he was like, gone ski. So about like an hour, 2 hours later, he's woken up. He's like, where are my bikes? He's gone mad. I'm like,
oh wow.
Bro, I tried to tell you this like 3 hours ago. He's like, is it? Yeah, what, people try to steal my bikes, yeah? Say less. Yo, well, I know it was daytime. By nighttime, the bikes were there.
Oh, wow.
The bikes were there. I was like, so what happened to the guys? He's like, Omar, the less you know, the better is for you. I was like, oh, say like that. Say less. My dad's like, come like taken or something. Like, it was crazy.
No, it's actually really nice to see like the difference of how you're speaking. You're smiling as
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
mad.
about your dad, like,
It's nuts. Like,
so what happened then? Like, from going to like smiling, doing all these, like you guys are ride or dies, doing trouble together, to then obviously
I moved back to London. Came back to London.
Yeah.
Came back to London, knocked on my mum's door, literally, and that was it. Like,
was it a thing where he gave you back, or was
I think honestly, like, I think there's more conversation I'd have with my dad because I feel like he would probably tell me the real compared to like my mum.
Okay.
I don't know why that is, but I just feel like my dad's never had anything to hide. Do you get it? Like my dad and that side of the family, we're very raw.
Yeah.
We just are what we are. I think it was my birthday, and I think my dad like messaged me because we didn't really chat like that. We didn't really speak a lot, and he messaged me happy birthday, and I think I was like, do you know what? Like, you're trying to show up, you know, and I'm older now, and I can't keep holding you to a version of yourself 20 years ago. I've accepted you for who you are, innit? Like, and we just built our relationship like that. And I think it was more like I realized the difference between my dad and my mum. My mum was, I always thought my mum had unconditional love for me, only to realize it was very conditional.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because I don't have flesh of my flesh yet in it, but like when I've dated women with kids and I've taken their kids as my own, I'm not telling that child you need to do X, Y's and Z's before I do X, Y's and Z's for you, innit?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Especially if it's something I know that like they're passionate about and they want and need it or whatever. So obviously my thing was music. My mum's a musician as well. She's a singer.
Oh, do you feel like that's where you got a bit of your music love from?
Both. I'd say from both of them. Because my dad is a producer.
Okay.
And he makes music.
Is this your biological dad?
Biological Pops, yeah. Okay. So Biological Pops is a producer. He done music management. He was on the board for Garnet Music Association as well. So he's done bits, like, yeah. And then my mum, backing vocalist for like big bands back in the 90s, then solo artist, then performing with like the likes of like Joe, Busta, and like all of them lots. So like you've also gone and done your thing, and you've got a nice network of people and whatever. So obviously when I've come to you and I'm like, yo, like, what are we saying? You want to hook me up with da 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 da? It was always like, yeah, we'll do this, but I need you to like polish up your act. I need you to polish up your look. I need to polish up this, polish up that. And there's like somebody that, as my parent, like you should, and I don't know if you, I don't know, like obviously you would notice the difference in your child, innit? And I don't think that ever got addressed with me and my mum, for example.
Yeah.
So like when you're like doing all these wonderful things for everybody else and giving all these gems and knowledge to everyone else, it's like, but I'm asking you for help, and I'm not really getting that. So I just felt a bit, But yeah, music, my mum, musician, my dad, musician, my stepdad, stupid amount of musical knowledge, like, so a lot of the stuff, like I was surrounded by music all the time, and I think I just, that was something I knew from young I always wanted to do. So I sang from the church. It was pretty standard like music story, innit? You sing from church, sing in the yard, sing in the bathtub, and do whatever, and then you start realizing there's things called instrumentals, and like instruments, and you can learn to play them and stuff. And then just started to like learn and just do that.
Yeah.
At first, it was just about music. It's just like, yo, I love this shit, and I want to do it as well. And I realized I could sing from a young age, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do the singing thing.
Yeah.
And then I went to Ghana and found out I could rap, so I was like, oh, I'm doing rapping thing. And then I was like, I need to write songs. And I was like, oh shit, I can do both. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, yo, I'm singing and rap. Like, I'm gonna do my thing. And it just like you just started to learn and grow, and you start picking up stuff.
How did you find the journey, like from doing Backchat and then coming out of Backchat then for you?
I mean, to be fair, I didn't do it by choice. Like, when we had finished filming the last season before like the pandemic and stuff, my stepdad died, innit?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
So I would say that was the beginning of like a conscious mental health journey. Like I didn't realize how much like in my songs, in my notes, in my verses that I had written about my depression. I'd written so much about what was going on and used the word depression. I just never really accepted or associated it with it like that. And then obviously when he died, the idea was to take a little hiatus and just have a break for myself.
Okay.
That break ended up going into the pandemic. So that's why I've been away for so long. But in that, just a lot of like growth. And
you said that obviously songs. So after the Backchat, were you always into music? So explain that a bit more, because I'm guessing music brings out, I guess, your emotions.
Yeah. So it's hard. Like I've always been a singer / rapper. So I do like neo soul, jazz, hip hop.
You
that
give
kind
me
of stuff.
that neo soul.
Yeah, that's like my thing. So whenever people ask, what type of music you make, I'm like, oh, like Wu-Tang meets D'Angelo.
Okay.
That's my sound. And I was doing music before Backchat. Music was my thing. I'd amassed like a generous amount of following, like I was doing my thing. And then obviously Backchat came, more audience. So I did more shows. I done my first headline show because of Backchat, which is really sick. I done it in Birthdays in Dalston. I think that's gone now, but I done it there. It's my first headline show. It was only meant to be like 250. We packed out 350.
Oh, wow.
So like, yeah, people just weren't trying to go away from the door. It just weren't happening. So I was like, oh, bet, sick. And yeah, like people asked, like, how come you started rapping more than you sung? And it was because talking to you talking to you is hard. Yeah.
When you say talking to you, what do you mean by
like
that?
Talking to anybody. Well, me personally, like talking about my emotions is hard because I didn't grow up like that.
Okay.
I didn't have that kind of space, or I wasn't raised like that.
How was you raised then? Like, what was your family dynamics in the sense of, obviously, you're a man, you live with your parents. How could you guys communicate, and how was it for you?
It was really weird, and I think I only realised this. I'm 31 now, so I only realised this in my 30 to 31. Like, as soon as I hit 30, life just came at me real quick. It hit me hard. But like, my dad was never somebody to shield me away from the realities of the world.
Okay.
Whereas I felt like my mum and my family on that side, we always put up this sort of like front, if that makes sense. where we had to be a certain way because we're Ashanti, because we're royalty, because we're Black Africans, because we're Ghanaians, and all this extra stuff that comes with it. But it's like, I hear that, but you guys don't live like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was very contradictory, and I think...
Of pride, would you say? Or,
oh, definitely, yes, Africans...
because I feel like we can all relate to... I'm an African woman as well, so
100%.
it's like, there's like a barrier you kind of have to have in front of you.
As Africans, you always, again, depending on how you was raised and who your parents are, because not to take away from any Africans that were born here and have lived here their whole life, but like for some of us that have gone back home, or like our parents are from back home, so they carry that tradition and culture with them very like in front of you. You get to experience that you would at home right here in England as well, innit? And I think for me, that kind of understanding of like myself, my emotions, where I'm at mentally, the journey that I've been through, or the things I've been through, I started to really pay a lot more attention to those things, which again, I didn't realize just how many distractions I had, or how much I was trying to do. I would say more like autopilot. Like I didn't realize how much in autopilot I actually was until my stepdad died and the pandemic came, because I'm grieving, or I'm trying to. And when the pandemic hit, like I weren't going out with the man them. I weren't going studio. I weren't doing shows. I weren't filming. I weren't doing nothing.
You had to really deal with.
So I had to like really like, you're stuck with it. At this point, and I think that's what really led me to really start looking at myself and the things I've been through, and what life looks like if I don't address these things now. And I think that's what's led me to things like therapy and like just taking it slow, ideally, like not trying to fill myself up with a lot of stuff, but more meaningful, purposeful stuff that gives back to myself, but also allows somebody else to look at it and say, oh, right, like actually, if my man can do it, well then there's hope, like kind of thing.
What would you say, like you say obviously you have emotions and you've had to kind of been shielded from things. What would you say are the ones that now at 31, what can you say you've realised are these kind of emotions? Because what I find is that, especially because of you say you do music and you came from back chat, career I've learned is a big thing, a big pressure for men. And the way the world is, I feel like there's a lot of weight. So maybe you can elaborate on that side of your emotions and your journey.
I think things have definitely changed as we've grown older, and as social media's changed, life has gone on or whatever. And I think the main issue that I think men have is grace. It's a simple word, but we don't get it. We don't get a lot of grace. I think there's a lot of things that a man is meant to be. A man is meant to say, act, think a certain way. A man's emotions are meant to be compartmentalized. They're meant to be felt, but not too much. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Everything's got to be done in like micro doses. But the expectation of what a man is meant to do, where's the release? Where is the comfort inside of this? Where is the grace? Where is the I made a mistake? Let's tackle why you made the mistake. What was it about it that, do you know what I'm saying? Because the idea that a lot of people do, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but a lot of people that do like a lot of like effed up stuff, like.
And are you talking in the sense of
anything? Anything. I don't. Anything within reason, I would say. Like not extreme. This is clear cut wrong. You know what I'm saying? But again, when you're talking about mental health, I think people forget that mental health doesn't always look sad. It doesn't always look manic. It doesn't always look one way. It can change. It can change in a split of a second. There's times where like I've been sat down like with my therapist, for example, and I've broken down in tears. And then about 5 minutes later, I'm turning up to Griselda. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And like, what does that mean? Like 1 minute I'm dealing with my emotions, and next minute, like West Side Gunner said a bar, and I'm like, oh my God, that's cold. And now I'm gassed. I'm like, let me get a pen and pad out, start, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's different for everybody. Some days are really good, some days are really bad. Like some days are all over the place, and you end up doing stuff outside of who your normal character is because you're compromised. And I think people forget who you are at your core and start to look at you as who is presented in front of them, which I understand. But that's the grace. And I don't think it just falls just for men. I think with anybody with mental health at that point. But specifically towards men, we don't get that grace. When it comes to emotions, again, I can't speak for every other man. But for me, because I didn't grow up dealing with my emotions or being allowed to feel them or being told that it was okay to feel them, a lot of my emotions have all been suppressed.
What would you say some of the emotions for you that you would say maybe trigger some of your, like, the depressive states?
Love,
Yeah.
heavily, yeah. I would say any sort of like passion towards anything or anyone. I would say like just you're dealing with your emotions at the time of stuff as well. I think that's something that I never done throughout my whole life. So sitting here at 31, going through therapy, and I've only done that for about, like 2-3 months.
Really? As in of recent now?
Recently, yeah, I started therapy in October.
What was your, okay, I need to start therapy now. What was that moment where you said, yeah, this is I need to do this?
I think it's been a build-up.
Yeah.
From when my stepdad died, I had fallouts with like my whole family, so I don't speak to that side of my family.
Yeah.
I only speak to like
quite
one cousin.
hard.
Yeah, no, it's tough,
Yeah.
man. I think it's tough because your family's your family, innit?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when you've grown up with certain standards and values and principles that aren't matched with the people you're with, it is a very big like identity issue that you have within yourself and with the people that have essentially installed this stuff in you.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. I was dating somebody at the time as well, and that kind of went to shit. Sorry. my bad.
Like,
so like, yeah, that kind of went like south, innit? And yeah, like I loved her, innit? Is what it is. Like I made a mistake, and I think.
Do you feel like that's where the grace that you feel you didn't get comes from a bit as well?
A little bit. I think grace comes with like understand. Grace and empathy is one or two things in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have either of those things. I've only got empathy for like babies and animals, which is really weird.
That's interesting, yeah.
But like with adults, I think because I was more logic than emotion. So if you said to me like, oh, I'm hurt about whatever, I'm like, well, stop. Like,
yeah, like get over it, yeah.
And like, it wasn't always that. Whereas now, because I've learned empathy, because I've started to like process emotions and stuff, like, it's like I would give you that grace. So what? Man can't get no grace, no? Bit techie, no? But I think just like with those things, and because like I said, with like the suppression of emotion and me not dealing with them in present time, you end up harboring like, it's like, you know how hoarders are?
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it's been like for me.
I've
hoarded all these emotions for like 20 plus years, like, because I didn't know about forgiveness, I didn't know about empathy, I didn't know about like how to express your emotions, and they've just sat here.
Yeah.
So now that I've had to deal with them, I've dealt with over 20 years of emotions in like 3 months, bro. But I think what led me to that was I felt like I was losing my mind. That was one, and I felt really suicidal at the time. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it, because if this is what life is like, but this is long.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy anything. Like, if you ask me about anything to do with Backchat, I can tell you in bits, but I can't tell you any memories from it like that. All the shows I did, the hands I shook, the people I met, the pictures I took, getting stopped in the streets and that, I remember it vaguely, but I was an autopilot. I was an autopilot for the whole thing.
I've read this thing before where you have to kind of lose everything, get to your absolute core and most vulnerable side to kind of start again. It's like a phoenix, isn't it? That saying is.
I agree and I disagree with it.
Why do you disagree with that?
I disagree with it because it's like, if you have the awareness that you are in a position that you don't like, you don't need to wait for it to get worse. You just need to do it. But the issue I think human beings have is that we all need a reason.
Yeah.
We need something that resonates with us enough for us to actually do something. And until that comes, we always think we've got tomorrow. We've got another day. We've got another day. Oh, I didn't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it at 1 o'clock. Oh, it's 1:05. Oh, look, well, guess I missed it. I'll do it at 2 o'clock. But like, it's that thing of having to do it. If you know, like, yo, in about a month from now, this ain't really gonna look good for man. Let me do something about it now. Then do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when people get sick, like, oh, I've got a tickle in my throat. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so are you banging ginger or lemons or like what? Are we just gonna leave it and then wait for a lem sip to appear? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like that. I think my thing was that I knew things weren't great. I just didn't know what that was. I just thought, oh, maybe I'm just not feeling too good for it or whatever. And it was only until, like, I explained it to my therapist, it felt like I had like a venom symbiote. Like, it felt like I had like venom trying to take over my whole body. Like, and that's the best way I could have described it to her. It's like, I'm trying to move forward, but I've still got this thing like in the back of my head that's like, I don't know what you're saying, but I know you want to take over. And I'm like, yo, what is that? Then I realized that I needed to stop living in my head, start talking more, start addressing these emotions, start realizing how to navigate them and like finding other ways to like express my emotions. Like you can't chop down the place, you can't smoke down the place, you can't drink down the place, you can't, I don't know, Call of Duty down the place. Like,
You have to really...
like rearrange my knuckles. Like you can't keep doing that. You have to find a healthier way to deal with your trauma, to deal with your pain, to deal with all of that. Because a lot of people think that it's this grand thing that like, bruv, my trauma just boils down to emotional suppression and a lot of pain because of it. Like I've suppressed my emotions for a very long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that happened to me as a child growing up and to where I am right now, it's hurt. I just never addressed the pain. And I think that's what a lot of guys do. Be strong, be this, be that, whatever. All right, cool. And then when man bugs out, you're wondering why, oh, what happened to him?
Do you feel like you have a community, like friends, where you can... Because boys always have like such tight friends. Boys never like do boys over, like your brothers are your brothers. What, do you not feel like you have that community within your friendship group where you can be like, listen, mate, like I'm having a really bad day. Like this didn't happen to me at work, or my dad's been like this. Like, did you feel like you had that, or do you have that? Or do you guys have to be, is it always just banter and...
Nah, do you know what it is? Again, I can't speak for all man them, innit?
Yeah.
But across the border, a lot of men don't chat. So me coming to you, you're not going to open up and relate to my thing. Or we're not going to share vulnerable stories with each other.
That's interesting.
Do you get it? And like I said, I'm not saying all men them do this.
Yeah.
Because some people have like really healthy male friendship groups where like they are aware of the things I'm talking about and they do speak from that space of awareness.
Yeah.
Where I don't believe a lot of guys have that. I don't think they do because we're taught to just get on with it and just move on and do whatever. It's like, oh, bruv, pattern it, man, you'll be good, cuz.
You guys don't go deep enough, you don't
Not
feel...
a lot of guys do that, I don't think. And I don't think they do that because they don't want to. I think they don't do it because they don't know how to.
Okay.
I think that requires a level of maturity, a level of understanding, and a level of vulnerability that I think a lot of us don't have because we're trying to hold it together for so long.
Okay.
Because you don't know, like, and it's the scary thing about mental health and vulnerability. You might think you've got a little crack.
Yeah.
Until you go and chip away at that crack to see what you can do to fix it and then realize, oh shit, like, there's cracks everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, fuck, like, let me try and hold this shit together. And then what was a cemented wall just starts to turn into sand in front of you, literally. And it just goes through your hand. And you sit there trying to grab all of these things to like put together and mold it up. And each time it just keeps on crumbling because you're trying to build a foundation.
Yeah.
You don't know how to.
Okay, so you say you're trying to build a foundation. Would you say then that like that aspect of, I guess you spoke about your music and that part of your career, would you say that's something that you would say plays a big part of your mental health and the pressures and those cracks and trying to build it up? Because when I've spoken to, you know, friends that are guys, it seems like there's this recurring pressure that comes to that passion, that comes to that fundamental like platform of like, what am I meant to do? Where am I meant to be? Like,
because as a man, like when we said in the very beginning about like the stereotypes and what's expected of a man can have a dream and a passion for his career, yeah.
Okay.
But if that's not bringing in what you need, bro, you're getting older.
Yeah.
People are looking at you. you might answer to somebody, you might not. You might have a relationship, you might have goals you want to do. They all play a part in those things, and people are watching.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that in anything you do as a man, it has to be good, it has to be solidified, it has to be this, it just has to be something. Everything has to be, yo, give us a break, Charlie.
Yeah.
Now pay me, like, you know what I'm saying? Charlie, even to wake up, to go and put shoes on is a lot of work. And now you want me to go and collect $1 million and go and put on my head. How, bruv? Like,
Do you feel like the opportunities at the moment? So if we go back, let's dive back into your music. So obviously that's something you love. Would you say that's your end goal? That's something you want to do full time and...
Yeah, music is definitely, I think it's the one thing I've always wanted to do. It's the one thing I've always loved doing. It gives me a sense of accomplishment. I do feel like because I didn't speak as much, I got to put everything in my my music, and was able to share my message that way. And it's nice, like people listen to your music and they hit you up and they're like, oh my God, yo, this song saved my life. Or like, yo, like I didn't realize like people actually feel this way or whatever.
Okay.
And it's really nice to hear that. I think the issue was because my music was my therapy at the time. And like I said, singing's a lot harder to do than just like spitting bars or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it comes with a level of emotion that you have to have, which I didn't feel safe enough to share with anybody, let alone myself. So I didn't sing as much, or I haven't sung as much in 2019. So yeah, since 2019 to now, I haven't really sang as much.
But do you know what's so interesting? When I think of like music, and you know how you say music for you is you get to talk about your emotions, it's kind of like an outlet. When you think of like music right now, I don't really hear men singing about their emotions. No. It's the worldly materialistic stuff. Do you know what I mean?
That's no one's trying to hear that shit.
No one's trying to hear that. So that's why it's you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
No, I'm trying to hear that. Like, we're all about advocates for mental health and whatever.
Yeah.
Tyrese had a breakdown. We laughed at him. But when you find out that, like, yo, you met baby mums was just your average chick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lots fell in love, had a youth. Just like, yo, sign a prenup. Like, no, I don't want your peas. I don't, like, you had it. I walked into this, Right, cool. Now you're done with the guy. You want money. And not even like a little piece. You want a lot of dough, bro. Like, that's nuts. But it's these things, like these moments, like, I just find I think you just have to, there's this level of like honesty and vulnerability in doing these things.
Yeah.
And I think it's about being okay with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think yesterday before we had the shoot, I started feeling a bit off. I was like, why is that? And I woke up this morning and felt more off. And I was like, why is that? And it was only because I felt like I know there's a level of reliving these moments I'd have to do when I'm here with you.
Yeah.
But it's like, what am I doing it for? And it's like, right, anybody watching this, even if it was one thing I've said today that's like, right, I'm not alone, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I want. I'm not here for the views. I'm not here for clout. Couldn't give a shit. I've met you, you're a lovely person. The rest of the team, you lots of dope. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's all I want from this.
Yeah.
I just want somebody to not feel the way I felt the past couple of months.
Yeah.
More so than the past 15 years, because it's hard, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard, but I think when you know that you're not alone, I think it does, like, it helps, innit?
Yeah.
It helps. Yeah, it helps, because you get to do that little bit more, knowing that somebody else has done a little bit more. Like,
What do you feel like people that are watching this, they can take from your story? Because we've literally dived into grief, your childhood,
it's a lot.
The relationship with both your parents, and also obviously your mental health and being a man up. What can you help? How can you help someone that's watching this video?
It gets better, innit?
Yeah.
It does, yeah, it gets better. It might not look like it, but it does. It gets better. And I mean that in a sense where you get to a space where you realize that you've been taking accountability for a lot of things in your life. A lot of things that you should never have had to take accountability for. I think once you realize that and start to give yourself grace and give yourself a little cry, and more so you actually say to yourself, I'm not okay, but that's okay. I think you being able to acknowledge what you're going through and to accept it. I think being in denial about depression, anxiety, bipolar, this, that, whatever, I think that's only what makes it worse, because you're trying to convince yourself you're something that you ain't. You're not good.
Yeah.
And that is okay, because you can overcome that. It does get dark, and I feel like depression and like all of this stuff with like suicidal thoughts and all of that, it comes when you feel like there isn't a way out. It feels like when you mention about like a family unit or friends and whatever, like I've been embarrassed. That's why I've not gone and spoken to some of my man them. Not because they're not there, but like, how do I approach you?
How do I
You know what I'm
bear
saying?
all something so vulnerable,
Like,
something so...
Everything I've just said to
Yeah.
you, bearing in mind, like, it's the first time meeting you. And I'm just like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's going to help somebody. So, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
with like the man them, why am I not doing that with them? Because, and it's not that I don't believe that they can't do anything for man, but I do believe that there's a certain level of vulnerability and a certain level of I've got you, that if you don't have that with your immediate circle,
Yeah.
you do want to like, I'm leaking, but I'm just going to keep trying to fill up these holes
Yeah.
and like not, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to
Yeah.
wait, and then it doesn't ever stop. It's just not as much pressure as yesterday.
Yeah.
But when you start to deal with stuff, I think that's the only thing you have.
Yeah.
That's like, you just go out with that foot forward and say, hey, like, yeah, I'm not okay, man. I've had
Yeah.
this, I'm going through this and doing that and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think once you understand whatever forgiveness looks like for you, once you're able to forgive yourself,
I love
even
that.
if you didn't do it to yourself,
Yeah.
somebody else, bro, sis, like, forgive yourself, innit? Real talk. Just let it out, because it's going to kill you. The thing that you are upset about that's got you there, that's not what's going to kill you. It's you keeping yourself there. That's what's going to kill you.
I love that.
That's what's going to kill you. That's what's going to keep you chained where you are. That's what's going to keep you reliving this shit. Because whoever that has hurt you, whatever that was done to you, whatever opportunity you missed, bruv, that's gone.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's actually gone.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's happened. There is nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But what you can do here and moving forward is solely based off of what you want that to look like. Because if you're still here in this, like, limbo is the worst place to be.
Yeah.
You ain't going and you ain't really like, you're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be there. Like, don't, even if you have to crawl to your knees bleed, Charlie, yeah, it's even better than staying where you are. Honestly, yeah, man. Get up on whatever it is and just keep moving forward, but forgive yourself.
Wow.
And just be okay with it, man.
I love that. I feel like this conversation has been I feel like we've unpacked so much, and I feel like it's been really insightful to feel the depth of, the depression, grief, relationships. But I know you've helped so many people.
I would like to.
So-
I didn't ever want, like, because when I tried to do this when I was doing back chat, I was going through all of this and I didn't know
Yeah.
this, and I was homeless, didn't know that, and trying to like do this, do that, and all of this stuff, and be a public eye and be in this and trying to still do that message. And I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to come here, more than just sharing that story, was just to set that record straight. Like, I'm not a victim. You know what I'm saying? I showed a lot of the things that we all go through as artists or as people in this industry, in their careers, and like the behind the scenes. Like, everyone looks at the end product and like, oh my God, this person's so great. But yeah, do you know what we had to do to get there?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But our formulas ain't going to be the same for everybody else. But like,
I agree.
the fundamentals of, you will probably lose your mind along the journey at some point. Yeah, like, these things happen, and I wanted people to see that, but also see the end result of it. So yes, I struggled a lot, but I also went on Backchat and done mad stuff, traveled, shows. I went unis and spoke to people about stuff that, like, I didn't go uni, but I still had stuff to say, and it helped others and whatever. And it's like, like, don't let what you're going through be the story and the version of you that everybody sees.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you're healing, when you are ready to show that, show that. Like, show the other side of the struggle as well. You know what I mean? Like, show people that it gets better. You do end up being in better positions. You are mentally better. You're healthier, stronger. You know what I'm saying? Show that side. But yeah, man, the kid's been through it, but
No,
We're getting there.
Omar, thank you so much for shedding your light. Like, it's just been amazing.
Trying, man.
Thank you.
Gang.